And we're off to Estoril for the sixth and last round of the Super 7 by Kia Trophy. We had rain, sun, an unstable weekend. That's what was awaiting the drivers in the Super 7 by Kia. There were 4 drivers in with a chance for the Pro Class Championship. Eduardo Leitão was out in front, 5 points ahead of Hugo Araújo. José Carlos Pérez and Sergio Saraiva also had a chance. They were dead level on 74 points. Over in the business class, Luís Calheiros Ferreira, Tiago Carvalho, José Colde Almeida and Rodrigo Galvez were those with the best chance. Let's take a look at the track first. And Estoril runs over 4.2 kilometers. The drivers were up for 2 races in an endurance format, 1 hour apiece, with the points getting doubled. The Brits from Macmillan Motorsport were over, around 40 drivers, joining their Portuguese counterparts for the final race of the season. The celebration began before the track. A dinner that was part of the Super 7 by Kia World, the driver for an increasingly successful competition. Well, I'm showing my face, but there's a whole set of people behind me that I would really like to thank. Kia, to begin with, all the members involved in putting this on, everybody involved in motorsport, and all our sponsors. Once again, with the Super 7 by Kia, the Brits were in town.
What a journey we've been on this year, and to end up here in this absolutely magnificent hotel. And what a day we've had already. We're back at Estoril, another absolutely gangbuster circuit for this series. All the drivers, big broad smiles, and we're slightly reflective about where we've come from. It's been a successful year. It's been a great series. Everyone's happy, everyone's smiling.
Closing 2016 with a lot of smiles, and our eyes already set on 2017. There's going to be more racing, and the R300 models will be joining the Portuguese competition. Well, we changed last year to the European program. Now we're developing this as best we can, because we believe the 2006 calendar is one of the best at the European level, one of the sexiest, as the English would say, for car drivers, and we're very confident. And after having reached this point, so many drivers in one place, we now do feel and we believe this snowball is going to keep on rolling. There was already the expectation of rain, but the downpour that actually happened came as a surprise, and right as the green light went on, the visibility was down, and some drivers did end up coming off in the rain. In the R300 class, Lee Wiggins had shown what he's up to in Spa-Francorchamps, one of the fastest in the race. He dominated the rain, turned in the fastest time, 2 minutes 13.764 seconds. Phil Jenkins had picked up a double victory in Portimão and was 6.6 of a second behind pole. The third fastest, the veteran, Clive Richards, about a second slower than Wiggins. Adam White turned in a time of 2 minutes 18.104 seconds. That was the fastest time in the Super Sport class. Great deal of competition going on in that one. Mike Rowland kept up the opposition, 0.1 of a second behind Adam White in the end. Steve Day also put in quite an effort. He ended up in 3rd position, some 2 seconds behind pole position in the Super Sport class. Let's get on with the qualification of the Portuguese drivers in the Super 7 by Kia Trophy. José Carlos Pérez, he showed he was up for it. 2 minutes 18.53, 1 of a second. He guaranteed pole position amongst the Portuguese drivers. 1.4 seconds behind him were the brothers Eduardo and Ricardo Leitão, who saw Nuno Santos and Hugo Araújo just a whisker behind them. Taking third place on the grid, it was the cousins Sergio and David Saraiva, 0.3 of a second behind. In the business class, the best time went to Frederico Brion Sanchez, who was in a team with the veteran of Super 7 driver Ricardo Megra. 2 minutes 23 seconds and 0.12. Luis Calheiros Ferreira was behind, with Francisco Pereira Cruz in third place. Now let's get on with all the emotions of the actual race. This is the first time out. In the R300 class, pole position went to Lee Wiggins, and he made a great start. Followed closely by Clive Richards, Danny Killen and Phil Jenkins, just 2 seconds between those four. Wiggins began opening up a gap at the front, and the alterations were taking place behind him. Jenkins allowed Richards through into third place before getting it back in the next lap and able to establish himself in second place. That strategy proved risky, and a mistake by Jenkins ended up seeing him get back into fifth place. Wiggins seemed to have everything under control, and then there was a mistake overtaking, and that saw the chasing pack close in. It was right down to the checkered flag. Wiggins won 1 second ahead of Clive Richards and almost 2 seconds ahead of Jenkins in the first R300 race.
It was a bit exciting, lapping some of the people, but really good fun. As per usual, my 4th year here. Fantastic, great fun. And a bit of rain as well. That makes it a bit more exciting. So, yeah, fantastic race. Really good day. All the team working really well. Fantastic. Really good.
Anthony Barnes was in 4th. Mark Farmer managed to get past in the last lap to steal 5th place from Andy West. Over in the Supersport class, Adam White got off to the best start, pulling 1.5 seconds away from Mike Rowland. They were followed at some distance by Ray Gilliland, who would soon allow Steve Day through to third place. That's where all the competition was taking place. Steve Day then enabled Alan Osborne to get through. Mike Rowland ended up second place. In the 11th lap, Osborne made it through, with Rick Potter in third. However, it was all change after refueling in the boxes. The positions changed 5 laps from the end. Adam White and Duarte Lisboa touched, and the Caterham of White ended up hitting the wall, forcing the safety car onto the track. The green flag came back for the final lap, and Rick Potter ended up winning 5 seconds ahead of Alan Osborne, and in third place it was Chris Lay.
Just as you thought, well, we'll try a dry line, you suddenly discovered actually it's a lot more slippery than you thought. So hard work, glad it was over. It felt like a long race.
Finishing the top 5, Andrew Connolly and Ray Gilliland. Let's get on to the Portuguese drivers, beginning with the Pro class. José Carlos Pérez was the fastest driver in qualification, focusing on the title and opening up some space right from the start. However, in the first lap, bad luck for Pérez, forced out due to gearbox problems. Hence, Sergio Saraiva was left out in front, followed by Eduardo Leitão, Nuno Santos, Gonzalo Lobo Duval, José João Magalhães and Nuno Pérez. Nuno Santos was looking good in third place, plenty of threats, Lobo Duval making move after move, but that strategy ended up seeing the latter fall back to 5th place in the 6th lap. Next lap, Eduardo Leitão got out in front, forcing Sergio Saraiva back into 2nd. JJ Magalhães was going fast, getting past Lobo de Val to move into 4th place. Not happy with that. A few laps later, he was in 3rd place ahead of Nuno Santos. The refueling and the changeover of drivers saw some changes, it has to be said. Eduardo Leitão was in the front, pulled into the boxes at the same time as Sergio Saraiva, but there were problems, congestion going on, with Leitão losing 28 seconds. That meant David Saraiva was able to get out in front and looking good out there. Nuno Santos handed over to Hugo Araújo and they were back in 7th position. JJ Magalhães benefited best from the situation, moving into 2nd place, followed by Eduardo Leitão. At the end, Duarte Lisboa ended up crossing the line in 10th place. Behind Vitor Mendes and Paulo Mendes in 8th place, it was Miguel Cruzeiro. With Luis Lisboa forced out, Bernardo Gonzalez managed to keep his place, and João Muniz Galvão, his 2nd driver. They were the 7th fastest team on the track, behind Nuno Pires. In 5th place, it was Nuno Santos and Hugo Araújo. Gonzalo Lobdeval was in 4th place. Up on the podium, it was Eduardo Leitão in 3rd. Not what he wanted. Well, you know, at the time of refueling, that team decided to kind of like test the car. We shouldn't have bothered. We should have used half the time. And the handicap, the 5 minutes, 5 and 50. We ended up losing loads of time behind David and JJ. And that's where the championship went. 2nd place went to José João Magalhães, just a fraction behind 1st place. That was a record, it's got to be said. I've never pulled off with 30 cars in my front. 30 years of my career, 30 cars, never before. It's got to be said. Well, as the track dried out, we adapted and I was able to make my way up. The great winners, the cousins David and Sergio Saraiva. Well, in the first lap, managed to get out in front. And then with the Brits, it's got to be said. There's plenty of racing going on out there. Leitão got up close, and we were battling with him right through to refueling in the box, swapping places all the time. When we got out of the box, Leitão lost time. We managed to get away nicely, inside the normal kind of time, and and we then just had to manage the victory. We won in the box, it's got to be said, but we still won. In the business class, Ricardo Megre started out in front, but in swapping drivers, handing over to Frederico Brion Sanchez, they let through Luis Calheiros Ferreira out into front. Calheiros took good advantage and began closing in with other cars. José Colde Almeida, Francisco Pereira Cruz and Paulo and Rodrigo Galvez were all in the battle for 3rd place on the podium. Colde Almeida and Galvez let Francisco go through, right through to the final lap, when José Colde Almeida ended up nabbing the last place on the podium. Well, it was all pretty much difficult because the track was very wet at the beginning. But once it started driving, it all got very nice. I was in a great race with Rodrigo and Paulo Galvez overtaking loads of times, backwards and forth. I managed to get ahead just at the end. 2nd behind, Francisco Pereira Cruz in 4th, Paulo and Rodrigo Galvez in 5th. Up front, 2nd place went to Frederico Sanches and Ricardo Megre. Yeah, it was great fun, I've got to be said. It's my 3rd race. It was a great pleasure to have this trophy in my hand. Coming 2nd on this. It wasn't totally dry out there, so it was kind of difficult. I did spin at one stage, but I managed to get it back, and we're going to have a great 2nd race. That's why I'm here. No real objectives. I just want to enjoy the driving. And the big winner, also picking up the championship in the business class, Luis Calheiros Ferreira. I'm very happy. Technical team did a wonderful job. The car was the best it's been this season. The driving was going great. It was all very civilized out there. When it began to dry, I began to be able to put my foot down. Consistent. It all went great. Let's get on with the second race in the R300 category. It was pretty similar to the first. Lee Wiggins set off in command of the race, but then challenged by Clive Richards, that battle went right to the end when Wiggins picked up a 1-second victory over Richards.
It was very good fun. Clive made me work really hard for it today, and we raced for a whole hour. He came in a lap early for his pit stop, and then I came in. We went back out, and on the second corner we was together.
The battle for third place involved Anthony Barnes, Justin Armstrong and Phil Jenkins. In the refueling stage, other competitors got into that battle. That was the case with Chris Wright, but who ended up losing the position to Phil Jenkins. Over in the Super Sport class, Alan Osborne started out in front, but on the fourth lap, he lost that place to Andrew Connolly. Mike Rowland was a bit further back, and that pair pulled away and managed to pick up the leadership. The driver ended up in first place, followed by Steve Day, who took the place after Dybel fell back. In third place, Chris Lay. Now let's move on to the second race with the Portuguese drivers, the last one in 2016. And beginning with the Pro class. José Carlos Pires started out with a disadvantage, as after having been forced out in the first race, he was at the back of the grid. Ricardo Leitão got off to a good start, but it didn't last long. Hugo Araújo was soon through and out in front. Saraiva moved into second, with Ricardo Leitão forced back into third. José Carlos Pires was on quite a roll. By the fourth lap, in seventh place, with JJ Magalhães spinning in the first curve, and Luís Lisboa forced out for the second time at Estoril. He could see the front of the grid. João Muniz Galvão took the fourth place. Meanwhile, Ricardo Leitão was forced out with more gearbox problems, and after the changeover in the boxes, the positions remained. So we had the change of drivers. Nuno Santos was out in front, David Saraiva was behind him in second, and José Carlos Pires on his own in third place. At the end, seventh place went to Luís Sepúlveda and Duarte Aguiar, who had a good race, but always trying to catch up. In sixth place, with a regular place, Miguel Cruzeiro. José João Magalhães tried to get close to the Caterham of Bernardo Gonzalez, but for half a second plus, the Gonzalez and Muniz Galvão got into fourth. Third place went to José Carlos Pires. Well, I mean, it wasn't too bad. I could manage 20 competitors. Third in my category. I don't know what I am in overall terms. Inside my category, that's good. Next year, there'll be more. I mean, I had some bad luck, but I mean, it went well enough. Here we go. Not the championship for me. In second place on the podium, the Saraiva cousins. Well, we got into the final race. And we lost some time. It wasn't ideal. We just have to give our congratulations to those who win. We'll be back next year and do our best to do what we can to win the title. Well, I was in a battle with José João for a period of time. Well, Araújo got past Leitão, and when I tried to do the same thing, it was wheel to wheel, normal in the Super 7. And the final place went to Nuno Santos and Hugo Araújo, with the latter becoming champion of the Pro class in the Super 7 by Kia Trophy. Well, we came with the objective of winning so that Hugo could be champion. We couldn't in the first race, it didn't go very well. In the second, we knew we had to do it. We knew the car was good. We knew we could get the victory. We both did an excellent job. We all various top laps, and everybody deserves their full congratulations.
Era objetivo já há algum tempo.
Well, it was my objective for quite a period of time. I mean, I wanted to get off the virtual driving and into the real world. The year started well this season. I seemed to have a bit of a favourable start because Nuno was kind of like my hero in all of this. I just followed what he was doing. And it was pretty much I had the opportunity. And it was then just deal with it race by race, trying to win all of them. And that's where we got our ambition, to win it. Over in the business class, Luís Ferreira had already won, so he was just driving around coolly. He'd had problems with a gearbox, and hence the early leader was Pedro Fallet. Francisco Pereira Cruz was back in 4th place, but managed to make it up, and by the 8th lap he was already out in front, behind Ricardo Megre, then Pedro Fallet and José Almeida. After their handover in the boxes, Fallet lost 2nd position to Luís Ferreira, who was making his move. Towards the end, Almeida got in front of Brion Santos and would end up in 4th position. Pedro Fallet and Almeida were close opponents, half a second in it. Fallet got 3rd place and quite a battle. Well, I had some pretty bad luck because I lost my 5th gear and they were all getting past me. But I really enjoyed it out there, it's got to be said. And I'm pretty happy to get onto the podium under the circumstances. Very nice. And the business class champion, Luís Ferreira, was 2nd placed.
A corrida foi muito boa.
It was a good race. My team, CRM, had a wonderful setup. The car was spectacular. Weather got nice. It was drier. It was just fabulous. Wonderful race. And the big winner of the race, with a full lap of advantage, Francisco Pereira Cruz.
Foi espetacular, fartei-me
It's spectacular. I loved it. It's one of the best things I've done in my life. I really like being out there, you're just going for it. Spectacular, whether rain or sun, it's just, yeah, it doesn't matter, mixed, lots of cars, it was all wonderful. What a wonderful season. The trophy is winning ever more followers. Let's see what 2017 has for the Super 7 by Kia trophy. See you then.